Answering some questions at dinner over this, and we're wondering, so I want to come back to this a little bit, the idea of a problem versus a project. So I'm going to have to Brian type for me this time. So maybe let's start with the project. What do you think are some characteristics of a project? You're going to assign your kids, the dinosaur diorama. Okay. What are some characteristics of a project? Yeah.
They know right off the bat what they're creating.
Okay, so they know exactly what they're supposed to do. You had something?
Oftentimes it's hands-on, and usually there's a rubric.
Okay, so it's hands-on, and there's a rubric. Then you had something back here, and then I'll get to you.
I was going to say that it's a well-structured problem.
Okay, it's well-structured. Okay, the back.
Oftentimes it's a culminating activity.
Okay, so they've learned first, and then it's your culminating activity. Okay. Anything else about when you assign a project? Yeah.
They know what they're supposed to do.
They know what they're supposed to do. You give them the little sheet, the list of all the criteria. Okay. Anything else?
They might have choices, but the choices are laid out for them, options.
Okay. So, you get 5 points if you do it this way, you get 4 points if you do it that way. Right. Okay. So they have options, but so they do have some choice, but it's laid out because these are your options.
They may not be solving a problem, they may just be researching.
Okay. So they may just be doing research, maybe not solving a problem. Yeah.
Not projects a bunch, but they frequently are sort of arbitrary.
Okay.
That it's like, okay, now we get to, we make a large product that's nice and it's fun to do, but it's fun by being hands-on, not by necessarily.
Okay, so it's hands-on. I don't know which one. Maybe many are arbitrary. You're often hands-on. I think we have that up there. Okay, and it's a product. Okay. Anything else we want to add to our list up there? Yeah.
They're generally repeated over and over again, doing the same thing.
Every year the fifth graders make the dinosaur dioramas. Okay. You tell which one my kids did that I didn't like. Okay, yeah. So they're repeated, or you just pull it out every year. Okay. Well, let's talk about, we can come back to this, but when we talk about your impression so far of a problem, what a problem would be.
Problems are messy.
Problems are messy. I didn't plan this guy. That's what we always say. Yeah.
Multiple solutions.
There are multiple
Instead of
solutions.
doing a diorama, I do a short story or something.
Okay. So there's multiple points of entry, multiple ways to do it, multiple solutions. Okay. Okay, what else? Okay.
It's embedded in the real world.
Okay, so they're,
Not only is it taken from the real world, but hopefully it will somehow affect the real world.
okay. I like your word embedded, yeah, because it's from and in the world. Okay. Any other ideas about at what point in a problem-based learning unit is the work done? At the end, like a project, or what do you think?
Be like the start of it.
Okay.
The way you guys are describing it, it sounds like at the start where you would try to get all your curriculum into that problem.
Okay. So,
In some ways, though, it doesn't end, because when you arrive at your solution or whatever, you evaluate that solution.
Right.
Think of alternative paths.
so it's a iterative.
Iterative,
Yeah.
great word.
Yeah. Yeah, it's iterative. It's not like you do all your stuff, now we make our project. You do everything through it. Yeah.
And you may have something tangible, but it happens through the learning, not as a way to show your learning, but because it was created as a way to learn.
Okay. You learn through creating not saying, I learned all this stuff and now I'm gonna make this thing. Okay. Anything else?
I wonder if the role of the teacher isn't a little bit different between project and problem.
Okay, tell us more.
So that in the project, the teacher is perhaps more, is directing the learning.
Mm-hmm.
And in the problem-based, they're facilitating and guiding.
Sure. That's a difference. Well, there's a word that, we use messy all the time. We also use the word ill-structured, which tends to make teachers very nervous, okay? But it's not ill-structured and not planned, it's ill-structured in that there are multiple solutions, multiple points of entry, multiple ways to do it, you know. So it's not, here's your sheet with the list of all the things, and you check all these things, and then you get all your points for your project. You know, kind of thing. Okay. Anything you wanted to add, Brian, while you're up there?
Anything out of it?
Yeah, do you think that's a pretty good list, at least start? Okay, well, in your packets, the next page, and I always end up tearing these things apart, and this might be easier for you guys, you can decide. After the page with all the standards, there's a page that says problem versus project. So take a second to find that. And then on the back of that page, there's a chart. And what this chart is for is to look at who's doing what. Is it the learner? Is it the teacher and the learner together, or just the teacher for these various parts of the project? Either who decides the question, who decides the procedure, who analyzes the response, and who decides how to communicate it. So what I'd like you guys to do is read these 3 scenarios, and then, so that's why you might just want to rip this page out of it. And then on the back, kind of look and think about each one on the chart. Who's deciding the question, basically who's doing the work for each of those 3 scenarios. So take a few minutes to look at that, and then we'll come back later.